Carey Crim, and I am the playwright for Some Couples May going up this spring. Well, this play was interesting because the first play that I wrote was an entirely different play called The Third Day. And I had sent it to Guy, and he sent me an email saying, why don't you come in and we'll do a greenhouse of the play. And a greenhouse is, for people that don't know, is when the writer comes in and works with actors for about 5 days, and then at the end of the week there's a reading, usually a public reading, at the Chelsea Library. So we got all the actors together, we started reading the script, and I think about the second scene in, my face must have just turned ashen or green, I'm not sure which, and I was about to crawl under the table, and so Guy stopped and said, all right, what's going on? Let's take a break. And I said, I hate it. I hate the play. I hate it worse, hate it more, hearing it out loud. And I said, I don't know if it's one of those plays that belongs in a drawer or if we can fix it and make it better. And he just looked at me and he said, yes. And I said, yes, it belongs in a drawer, or yes, we can fix it and make it better. And he said, both. We're going to make it the best it can be. But I think it might belong in a drawer. So I have this other idea that I've been toying with that I have a couple of scenes for, but nothing concrete. Let me go away and see what I can do. So I literally wrote for 36 hours. I think I slept for about 6 within that whole time, and came in on Wednesday with a brand new play, just an act 1. I didn't have an act 2. And he said that's okay, because the people that come to the greenhouses love to see the process, and they'll love the fact that we don't have the whole play. And so we did just act 1, and it was really well received. And so Guy was like, go home and write me an act 2. And so act 1 took 36 hours. I think act 2 took quite a bit longer than that. That's what I love about working here, is that you're allowed to fail, and you can fail really big, in the sense of someone's going to catch you, and it's not like then you can't work again. I mean, you're supposed to fail. That's where I feel like this play never would have happened if that other play hadn't not worked, and I'm so happy with what we ended up with. So it was a gift. That failure was a big gift. The idea for the idea of a couple struggling with infertility issues was just, for me, I had a number of friends going through the process at about the same time, and then I also had 2 gay couple friends that were not going through infertility, but going through using a surrogate, which you do a lot of the same stuff. So it seemed to be very much in my world at that time. And listening to the stories and the humor and the heartbreak of it, it just felt like it would make a really strong play. So that's the one that I wrote. Working here feels like coming home. I mean, I'm so comfortable. The actors, the designers, everybody in the administration office, and Guy and Jeff, just have created such an atmosphere of going all out with everything. Nobody gives 50% here, and sometimes that does mean that you fall flat on your face and you fall pretty hard, but like, everybody is here to pick you up, and I think that daring to take the risk is what is celebrated, even more than the final product. But that usually means that you end up with a great final product, but it's not about that. It's about the process of getting there. And I've never felt so safe in a creative environment. And I feel like everybody has my back, and everybody's here to make the play the best that it can be. I think it's really hard to force an idea. It's really hard to say, I'm going to write a play, and then make yourself think of something that you're going to write a play about. But once that idea comes, one of the really fun parts for me is not writing and just letting it kind of percolate in the brain. And I go for a lot of walks in the woods. That's one of my favorite things. Driving, and just those ideas come down, and always having a notebook with you or something to record, to just jot stuff down. And then, but I think oftentimes, and that seems to go pretty easy, then you sit down to write the first scene, And that's always really tough, that first line. You know, I think every writer talks about this, but just staring at the blank page or the blank computer screen can be really daunting. But the hardest part is just getting started. And then I always hit a snag around page 50 or 60, where you're not really sure where you thought it was going someplace, and then it starts going in another. And I think that's kind of when the story and your preconceived ideas of the story sometimes start to play tug of war. And it's usually better if you just go with where it wants to take you. Although I find a way to get it heard. If if you're in the theater, you've got friends that are actors, invite them over, give them beer and burgers or whatever you can to just hear it out loud, because it does change so much, and plays are meant to be heard. They're not meant to be read, and I think it's so incredibly helpful. That's one thing that I love about here, is that like we're on our feet immediately. We're, let's hear the play, not just pass it around and let people read it, because I think it's incredibly important. So find a way, any way, to get it heard. I mean, I couldn't be happier to be part of this. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I think I started here when I was, Guy just told me it was 12 years ago. I did, and it was a new play by Lamford Wilson. It was Book of Days, and that was my first job here as an actor. And I think after that I did Completing Dahlia, which was another new play. So this place was sort of my introduction to what it's like to work on a new play as an actor. And when I realized that I wanted to go to the other side of it and start writing, I always wrote with this theater in mind, and this space and these actors. So it just feels absolutely right to be here for such a great anniversary, and I'm so happy for them that they've made it this far. I mean, it's huge. Well, you should come see Some Couples May, because it's there are incredible actors in this play, and I'm thrilled with what Guy has done so far in the direction, and he always does. They're very funny. I mean, they're cracking me up every day, and then there's moments where it's the complete opposite of funny. Hopefully it's supposed to be. But and there's a dominatrix, so come see the dominatrix. Happy 20th anniversary, Purple Rose. I am so excited to be a part of it. Thank you.